Hello guys, this is Lance, and in this video I will be talking about how I record video and audio for TF2. As you probably know, this is my videos are post-commentary, but I have a certain method as to how I record. However, I do not really recommend doing what I'm doing to record, as I am usually just lazy, and if you want highest quality content, I probably do not suggest it. However, I will be going through all of the methods available to you if you have the means to do so. I am assuming that, of course, that you have FRAPS, because that's what I have. If not, then you can have a free trial. You can probably find it free somewhere. But other recordings are good too. However, the pros and cons will probably be different. What I will be doing is going over all the video methods that I've thought of so far. You can discuss it in the comments if you want, but I will be discussing pros and cons of each strategy and recommendations for either of them, for all of them. And by that I mean I will recommend this to you if you have a certain thing you're doing, if there's a certain circumstance, something like that. Now, okay, so you want to record a video for YouTube, right? So obviously the best way to do it would be the FRAPS recording. I mean, it's advertised to do what it wants to do, and it does it at an uncompressed rate. Obviously that sounds good, right? Well, you'd be wrong, but we'll go over that. So for FRAPS recording, I'm talking about flat-out recording with FRAPS straight from your monitor in a live recording. In the background, you will be seeing a result of it, a recording with FRAPS straight out from my monitor. Now the pros of this is that this is a 100% accurate recording of what the player is actually saying on the monitor. Team Fortress 2 has lag compensation in the form of complete server-side, well, partially server-side compensation, partially. So later we will see replays and demos. When we see sometimes demos, if your interp ratio is really bad, the actual positioning of the players will be slightly different as compared to if you're recording straight from FRAPS. But and that might just catch people off guard, but whatever. So the other pro is that there is no post-rendering in most cases. FRAPS just throws out uncompressed. You don't actually need to render it if you don't want to. You can just plop it onto YouTube. Another pro is that FRAPS recording a FRAPS video all you require is one button. If you want to, you can just fiddle around with the configs if you want, but all it takes is F9, and that's it. Now the cons to this is that it lags to all hell if your computer or hard drive is not up to snuff. This will directly influence your gameplay, as there is lower FPS, therefore a lower reaction window to, say, snipers, soldiers, anything. It will affect how you play, because originally you were playing at a 90 FPS rate, and well, it's much different when you start recording and you're playing at a 30 frames per second, which is much worse. Now, recording specs, the game video settings that you set your game to will be what is shown, because this is a 100% accurate recording of what the recording player is saying. If you have your settings set really low, say you want to be a professional player and you want to record something, most professional players will set their settings really low so they can maximize the frames per second. A 1280 by 720 video, a 1280 by 720 recording of a terrible looking game will still look really bad. It doesn't matter how high this resolution is, it doesn't matter the HD quality of it. It's still still looks fairly terrible. Now, if you don't care, that's absolutely fine, but if you want good looking videos, you definitely don't want to go here. Now, another con would be that the video file itself is completely uncompressed and is very bulky, especially for longer games. For longer games, it often requires re-rendering in order to lower the size so you can actually plop it on YouTube without waiting several days for upload, which is terrible. Now now on certain times, the audio and the video will desync, especially when your FPS stutters as a result of your setup not being perfect for FRAPS. FRAPS is very stingy sometimes. So yeah, that's very hard to fix. I've had that happen to me on older recordings of TF2, and it can get very obvious, especially when the video file is up to 30 minutes. Now, recommendations. I recommend you use this if you're doing like short plays, 30 seconds, 45 seconds. Very good for HD quality, 30, 45 seconds, stuff like that. I also recommend it if your computer can handle playing and recording via FRAPS at the same time. Now keep in mind that the recording specs versus the HD media preference, 1280 by 720 video, will still look terrible if you're recording a RuneScape game. Now, if you have and I will also recommend this to you if you have the proper write speed for your hard drive. If it's not high enough, now most hard drives will probably have the correct write speed. They will probably have enough, but if you're recording with FRAPS, I suggest you get another hard drive dedicated to recording to that drive, because that will definitely ease up a bottlenecking issue along with FRAPS. So FRAPS isn't for you. Your computer is either old, or you're planning on doing long-term games or long-term lives or something like that. Well, you're in luck. So on May the 5th of 2011, Valve released the Replay update. By simply pressing the F6 key, whether during your life or during your respawn time, you will automatically download a replay file in which you can edit and render all of it while still in game. You can edit post-processing, you can edit camera angles, in fact. Now, obviously we're in the pros, so everything is done within the game. All of editing is done within the game. You can even upload the clip onto YouTube directly through the game client, which is amazing. Another pro is that there is no lag whatsoever, because all you're doing is downloading a replay file. Or, in fact, you're only downloading a movie clip. Now, the in-game editor also allows you to see what's going on at all parts of the map for the duration of the life. What does this mean? That means if there's something really if there's something really cool going on, I don't know why you would do this, but if something really cool going on the other side of the map, you can look at that too. It's just for, it's just very detailed that way. It also allows for camera work, so this is the only method which will allow a third-person view, or if you want to be really artsy, you can do a setup with high FOV, low FOVs. You can do amazing things with the editor. You can there's also several options to make the videos appear very, very good. There's blur options, there's also post-processing, as I've said before. It's very, very, very good. This also allows for longer videos, since the files are fairly small and you can render the video in-game. This also allows for higher quality replays, so you can as there is no load on your CPU or your hard drive, because you're not recording with FRAPS, obviously, and all you did was download a file. Now, the cons to this is that a replay file will not have a HUD, or well, I'm hoping you know what a HUD is. Basically, you can't see your health, you can't see your ammo, and you can't see the kill counter. That is a major problem if you're doing long-term games, or there is an unclear clip as to what actually happened, who killed who, and whatnot. You won't be able to see that. All you will see is the character's model, and the character moving around and stuff like that. That is actually a major issue, and that's why I opted out of that. Because there's no actual feeling of anything if you don't know how much health I have. You don't know why I did this, because maybe I ran out of ammo, maybe I don't have the health to deal with it, maybe I ran out of cloak, in fact, or maybe I noticed that my medic died in the kill feed and I'm checking it out, or even someone's capping the point and I'm trying to go back and prevent a back cap. Now, another minor con is that when you're playing the spy, which I do at several times, disguising when you're viewing him in the first-person view will obscure your entire view for a few seconds of smoke. That is a problem with the replay because it's not a spectator view. It is literally just a camera aligned with your head. Another problem is that the recordings actually only last one life, so be prepared to press the F6 key quite a bit if you want to record a lot of parts. And the final con is mostly just a video, is just an AV nerds nitpicking. It's that the actual render options can be kinda limited. It's not that I really want to make a 100 FPS video, but there's just not a lot of there's the codecs, the resolutions. In fact, the resolutions are what there's no custom resolution, so that's actually a major problem with what I have with that. And the frames per second is also limited. I forgot to add this into my original recording, but another con to the replay editor is that some servers do not actually support the replay editor, and in games you can see where the replay editor is when there is a player in the spectator section called replay. That's when you know there is a you can record replays off of that. Just so you know, some servers will not be able to record replays, and therefore you should find another method to record if you're thinking of recording on one of these servers. So recommendations: if your computer specs are actually not enough for recording through FRAPS, then this is definitely a good option for you. If you're recording casual plays and you want to show something really awesome in one of your lives, you can just edit this in the game, throw it on YouTube, and show it off to your friends. If you're using some of these clips for like another video, part of a heavily edited frag video or something, then the third-person angle or the set camera is actually very good for making videos, evidently. And another one is, I believe in the last commentary I did, I missed an awesome life. I got a triple kill and I destroyed an entire NG nest. Well, an NG nest of one guy. Headshotted the NG and left. I was not recording with my normal recording software at the time, so I just hit my F6 key, and I got the recording, and that's why you could see that. So if you missed like an awesome life and you want to actually save it, then when you're either dead or when you're halfway through recording it, then yeah, you definitely want this. That's really good, and I use it sometimes, but as I said, the cons actually outweigh the pros in my case, in my circumstance. Another one is if the scene is actually clear of what actually happened. I've seen replays where the camera work is either so bad that you don't know what's going on, or just the smoke just makes me not know what's going on ever, which can be a major issue at some times. So the third and final, and the definitely not least way of recording a TF2 movie is to first make a TF2 demo recording. A demo recording is essentially a spectator view of your point of view, and converting that directly to a video format. Now there are two ways to make a demo file, and there are two ways to turn the demo file into a movie file. Now I will be first going over what I use to make a demo file, and the second one is just a much more manual way of doing it. What I use is a POV recorder. The link to that is in the description as well as in an annotation. First, all you have to do is install the add-on into the add-ons folder. All you have to do is install it first, and then once you twiddle with the configs, I highly suggest that you do. You just type in PREC_record in the console and play until you finish the match. It will stop recording when you leave or when the current match ends. Now the pros to this is that it is obviously very simple to use. Probably not to install. It's kind of difficult to get used to, but all you really need to do is just type in PREC_record, and that's just one command. It will stop recording when you leave or when the match ends. The con to this, however, is that you get little control over the actual name. However, you can change this in the config section, but you can't do this willy-nilly, as in names will be automatically set every time you type in PREC_record. There's no actual way of doing it directly before you start recording. But you also cannot control the length of the gameplay. If the game lasts for about an hour, then the only way to stop it is to leave or wait until the match time runs out. And if you're playing on servers where there is a time mod to it, where it lasts like an hour or so, then that might be a bit of an issue. Some recommendations: if you're lazy like me and you really don't care about precise demo recording, it really doesn't matter to me. I will record until I leave, and I can just edit it. You can just edit it out when I get around to it. Now the other way to make a demo is to do a manual recording. There are 2 links in the descriptions, and I will put 2 links up in the annotations. Both of these are instructions on how to do manual recording. These get into much more depth than I will in this video, so I suggest that you read these if you are interested in having control over your demo length and your demo name. So all you really have to do is type in the console, record a name, and then when you type stop, you will stop recording, and this will formulate a demo. Now the con to this is that it's actually a hassle to type out record, think of a name, type out the name, and then press stop when you want to stop. I recommend this if you want full control over both the name and the length, or you are worried about the drive space for the actual demo. Perhaps your hard drive is very small, has very small space, and you are worried that the demo will actually exceed the space, and that's a valid concern, definitely. Either way, both of these methods will create one .dem file, which will be found in the Steam apps, your username, Team Fortress 2/TF folder, or /TF, or whatever. This will be in the /TF folder. It will be a .dem file, and this is the demo file. However, this is only openable in the game client at the moment. Now we will be moving on to how to actually convert this into a video. Now the first way is also outlined in the 2 links I mentioned previously. In this method, you can do the entire process within the game client. First, you set up the game options, the video options, and the audio options so that it matches what you want the recording to be. For instance, if you want it to be a higher quality, you must set the texture quality and all the quality yourself, as if you're playing a game, on that setting. Now, then you have to type in the console svcheats1, and then type in host frame rate 30. The 30 can be any FPS that you want to record in. However, this sets the FPS of the demo file itself, so I suggest you put it at a watchable pace. The YouTube standard is 30 FPS, but if you want more quality, or if you want to do slow-mo, in fact, you can up it to a higher FPS if you want. Keep in mind though that your graphics card may or may not be able to handle higher FPS and highest game settings. Next, in the console, type play demo name. where name was the same name that you recorded the demo with originally. So by either using the manual demo commands, which I hopefully you will not be doing that, you can also do the demo menu through pressing Shift F2, where you can go to where you want to start recording in the demo file. Now, in the console, type Start Movie, new name, AVI, where new name can be a completely different name, it can be the same name, just as long as it's a name. And this will be the new file name for your new movie. You will then see a menu pop up showing a list of codecs. All you have to do is choose one, and the movie will be compressed into that codec. Note that the preview to the movie will look and sound terrible after this step. That is normal, and all you have to do is wait until you want to stop. When you want to stop recording, all you have to do is type in End Movie, and this will finish the compression and the recording. Now the new name.avi file will be in your Steam Apps, username, Team Fortress 2 TF folder, with the current game specs and the FPS settings that you set beforehand. Now, the pros to this is that the video itself is depending on your codec, actually. It depends on your codec. Generally, it will be fairly small, depending on how long it is as well, but definitely not as bloated as the second method that I will be showing you later. The other pro is that this is completely in-game recording and rendering. You do not need third-party software for this. And this also allows for higher game quality, as there is no hit on performance, since all you're doing is watching a demo. However, your graphics card still needs to make each of the frames, so higher FPS and higher game settings may actually make you lag out. The cons to this is that there is minimal editing tools while using the demo as opposed to the replay recorder. This is all first-person view. You can view the HUD, yes, but the issues with this is that you can only see first person. You cannot see anything else on the map. You can only see what has been drawn, and what the server has put up for you. Another con is that it can be ridiculously daunting when you set up for the game for recording each and every time you try to record and render a movie. But that's just personal preference. You can do this if you want. But then the final con is that the video file that you will get is already slightly compressed, so there is quality loss in the video. The only issue with this is if you want to further edit the video in another third-party software. Now, recommendations. If you want a small file that you can upload to YouTube quickly without too much editing, then you can do this. If you are worried about the hard drive space left on your computer, you can also do this, as the video is compressed. If you do not have professional editing tools at your disposal because, well, you don't really need it, you don't need to edit, you don't know how to edit for that thing, for one thing, yeah, you can use this as well. I suggest using that, in fact. That is the most, well, the closest you can get to a professional recording. Now, what I use, and what I think gets me the highest quality in rendering, and gives me a nice balance in flexibility and quality, is I record the demo itself with FRAPS, and then I record an audio afterwards. So what I do is I set up my resolution and your video quality just like in the former part, and then I press my record button, which is F9 to start, and then record button again to stop while I'm playing the demo. What the pros to this is that it is much easier than using a console command to do anything. All you need to do is press one button. I can dictate when the video will stop and start more directly via one button. The other pro is that there is little to no actual render time, as FRAPS renders it live streamed. It also does not need to alter the FPS in-game. You do not need to change the host FPS. All you need to do is change the configurations for FRAPS. Another pro is that it allows for higher quality video in-game, as you're not doing it live. So you can set the actual game quality to the highest setting and record it with FRAPS. And the re-rendering allows for, and for people like me, re-rendering allows for more precise editing style, and the uncompressed video actually assures higher quality than if I did the other demo recording. At least that's what I think. It might not be true, but who knows. So cons to this is that it still has to be set up visually. You still have to set up the resolution and the texture quality and the DirectX quality and stuff like that. Recording with FRAPS naturally will take a hard hit on the CPU and the hard drive, which may affect frames per second. It's a tad smaller hit than the recording it live method, but it will still do a major hit on frames per second. There might be stuttering. I do not promise the smoothest of recordings. Another problem is that it may be bloaty and uncompressed, as most FRAPS files tend to be. Re-rendering is definitely a requirement if you're going to make a film out of this. Now, I recommend this to people if you want uncompressed footage of your gameplay really quickly, if you want to make a video like me, if you have a professional video editing tool at your disposal, or you're intending to render the video with your own codec. I don't know, maybe you're making your own codec, or if you, like me, are using Adobe Premiere or Sony Vegas, in fact, to edit your videos, and you prefer the linear, or you're more comfortable editing with those tools. This is the setup that I usually use because I have more confidence in my video editing abilities than I do the demo editing abilities. Now, I'm just going to talk briefly on the audio. Is that it's completely up to you whenever you want to record the audio. There are two ways to do it. One is doing it completely live, recording the audio live. FRAPS can record audio whenever you want, but the extra audio track that you're recording, if you probably want to record both the speakers and your microphone, that extra audio track will cause desync and probably more lag. It will also be very difficult to edit if the normalization is not correct. For replays and demos, without using FRAPS, the only option is actually post commentary, as the replays and demos will probably not record your voice live. Now, what I do is post commentary, and what I actually do is I set up Audacity. When I say mark, I press the play button on my FRAPS recorded video, so there is less CPU usage, there is less chance of lag, so there's much less chance of desync. Sometimes Audacity will screw up and glitch out and stuff like that, but these are mostly minimal and usually very rare as compared to FRAPS recordings. FRAPS also stutters a lot whenever I try to record with audio, so I've just given up on that, and I am usually terrible at live commentary because I am very easily distracted, as you can probably tell by some of my post commentary, in fact. And that will wrap up all that I wanted to say for the how to record a TF2 movie set for YouTube. Obviously, some of FRAPS, not everyone has FRAPS, but you can just take out FRAPS and start trying to record with anything you really, with any game recorder that you want in place of it. I recommend these methods because that's how I use it. If you want, you can also use a capture card, but that's up to you. As I said, these are probably not all the methods, and if you have any other recommendations, you can probably put them in the comments. So yeah, if you enjoyed this tutorial, that's nice. Like, subscribe if you liked it or you want to subscribe to me. This has been Lance, and see you guys next time.